Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Band in the Van podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Katie, and we're Fresh Breath.
We're the Band in the Van. This is the Band in the Van podcast. It's episode 19. I've said that previously, but I'll say it again. It's episode 19. We are going to give you guys an in-depth tour of the van today. We've shot a van tour before. We are in the midst of a COVID lockdown and I think bordering on losing our minds.
Well, I mean, we were super bored and
very bored. There was a lot of heavy drinking.
Nowhere to be. And yeah, so we had a lot of fun with that one. But we're going to do a little bit more, not serious, but, focus on the van.
A proper update.
Yeah.
And I'll put you can click on this link right here if you want to watch that previous van tour, if you can call it that, and then you'll come back here, obviously, and see the upgrades. So let's get to it.
Band in the Van podcast.
All right, we got this 2019 GMC Savana van. Fully loaded.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? 2019?
2017.
2017. Take her back a couple of years.
Yeah.
2017 GMC Savana is what we're working with here. And we bought it basically as a shell. It was like a old U-Haul vehicle, right?
Yeah, it was a rental.
We bought it as a shell and we outfitted it, everything ourselves. Josh did the paneling and the ceilings. We got it spray foam insulated. And that was like the first things that we ever did, which was huge. And then, we've been building it out ever since as we go, because as a lot of van lifers know, everything that you think you need ends up changing along the way, because it's either, it wasn't as necessary as you thought, or other things take precedence over that because of just your day-to-day lifestyle in the van. And it just depends on how it plays out. You got to actually hit the road and use it.
Let's get to the tour.
All right, everybody. So I think this is probably the best addition that we ever put into the van. There used to be a partition wall right here, like exactly the same as this one. And it really cut off the living space to like just that area. And so what we did was we bought a swivel seat from the Swivel Shop. I'll put a link in the description to where we got it. It's a great product. They have them for every single design. So like Ford Ecoline vans, they have GMC Savana ones, Mercedes Sprinter ones. But let me show you how it works. So there's a lockout button at the front you have to get rid of. And then there's this lever here. I don't know of any of them that you don't have to like move the seat around to like whether up or back to get it to sit. But you can have it sit 90 degrees or 45 degrees. This thing's been amazing. It opens up the space. All right, so now that this thing is spun around, like I said, it opens up the space in here. You can sit up nice and tall. It's a super comfortable seat that like is designed to drive many hours in. This is usually Katie's spot while we're driving, my spot while we're sitting. Katie's spot is right where she's sitting right now. Here, turn that camera around. There she is. This is a little glimpse into how the day goes. But anyway, so yeah, this is great. A little update in the front here. The factory inverter died. There's like a short in it, and every time I replace a fuse, it blows. And I didn't want to purchase a new inverter from the factory because they're expensive. So I got this on Amazon. It's a 300 watt power inverter. It runs off of the 12 volt power here and has 220 volts, 300 watt max. And then I just replaced one of the cigarette lighter outlets with this USB in the dash so that you can just plug your phone in right there. And that's about all there is to say about the cockpit here. This is it's an entirely new build. We built all new cabinets, and we took a lot of inspiration from different van builds that we had seen. This section here, we were able to, this is where our solar panel sits, so it's easy access. It's got a nice long cable, throw it up in the sun, It's all wired into the battery system, which I will show you momentarily. But we have 6 gallons of fresh water, 6 gallons of gray water, and obviously just more storage. We have towels and garbage bags and stuff. And that's for the sink and the faucet up here, which I will show you in a minute as well. On this side here, we've just got more storage. There's all kinds of butane. Our fire extinguisher is here, first aid kit, battery charger, and then we have butane cooktop. We have a toolbox here with just some small tools in it, and then we've got a whole socket set here as well. And there's a hose tucked back in there as well for when you're camping and you need to hose down yourself because you live in a van, and you can do that. Moving into the van now. This is kind of like your living room, dining room, kitchen, and bathroom all at the same time. So we've got another homemade sink. The last build I used a stainless steel salad bowl. On this one we used a what would this cooktop
Like
be?
a baking pan.
Like a baking pan.
Galvanized
Same thing,
pan.
cut a hole, put this in it. But this has got to be the coolest part of the new build. We have running water,
Love
which is like the most fantastic thing when you live in a van. We used to have like a pump sink with a pump handle. It was the worst. You couldn't like wash your hands or your face at the same time. So this has been great. Really good addition. We've got a cutting board up top here, so you can do food prep and stuff very simply here. Usually we have all of our toiletries and stuff in here. Let's get into some storage. So we have, this is the shoe closet down here. Lots of space. I think Katie brought 15 pairs of boots the last road trip, and she wore them all.
Thanks.
She wore them all. And then we both get one drawer for clothes, and it's kind of amazing that you don't really need that much. You know, a couple pairs of pants and a bunch of t-shirts, and that's about it. And then we have more toiletries up here, space, and then this piece of resistance that just keeps her nice and
like, how do we cover
nice
this
and hidden, and it looks classy. Okay, so now shelving units. This is a new one. This one was in here before. All of this is all new. Obviously, we've got these latches to keep everything closed. So we've got cookware, all of our utensils and stuff in there. And then in this one is where we keep even more our kettle and stuff like that, toaster and things of that nature. And you're probably wondering how we keep all our food cold. And I'll show you that in a second. Bear with me as I do this and get a good look at my butt. You checking it out? Okay, so down here we have our pop toilet, cassette toilet, as we always do. And like, why wouldn't you keep that right next to your food? So this is our cooler. It's a knockoff cooler. It's like not the it's not a Yeti brand,
ice
but
bucket kind of thing, but
it works. The reason we ordered this exact one is because it's the exact height and width of the toilet, and I was able to design this bench seat to sit right over top of it, and it fits perfectly.
It's like a triple duty section.
Yeah, it does. There's a lot going on right there. But anyways, so I will show you the battery system next.
I was just going to add that this section that Josh just talked about is a huge upgrade for us, because we used to have just like a cooler, basically, that we would put that blanket on and a pillow on and sit on a cooler. And the toilet, it all fit the same kind of way because we didn't have the build outs, but it was like not as comfortable, obviously, of sitting on an actual bench with cushioning. So this is a huge upgrade for me, not to sit on a cooler, and to have an ice bucket is a little bit better, keeps the ice longer, and that makes a big difference in the van.
Yes. All right, this might be a little bit hard to see, but we're going to try and show you the electrical upgrade that I did. First of all, we have USB here. Oh, it's turned off. That makes perfect sense. This is our diesel heater control. And in here is where I have all of our electrical system set up. So I bought a Chins budget battery off of Amazon, and the budget lithium phosphate 100 amp hour battery was still like $700. But it's been great. We have our solar charger hooked up under here. Let me see if I can try and get a shot of this.
Zoomed in, so
Okay. Let's see if we can
you might have to
get this. Zoom back out. Okay, so in here, we've got, this is our solar charger controller here. We have a master on-off switch here. This is our fuse panel labeled. We have barely used any of it. And then, yeah, so that's pretty much the electrical system in a nutshell. There's not too much to show you under there. I'm not going to get too in depth on wiring schematics and whatever, because I go to YouTube University and learn how to do it, and I'm not going to start teaching people how I did it. All I know is that it works.
And we have like the bare essentials for electrical in here. Like, it's not totally. Like we don't have a fridge. We don't have,
our lights are all push lights, so I don't know if you can even see that turn on and off. Yeah. It's kind of bright out. And then we also bought mood lighting when we were in Texas, and we installed these. So all 4 of these run off of the same remote.
Yep.
And you can change them to cool colors. And so if you're sitting in the van and you're feeling bored and you want some cool colors going on,
vibe out,
you can make that happen. And yeah, so next I think we will, I guess we can just cover the bed while I'm sitting here. Let me put this back. See, if I was just a little bit shorter, I feel like I could stand up. But like if you just do
so
this,
close.
if you do this for a few months. Yeah. Anyway, so we still have the same mattress. We have 6-inch memory foam. This is a regular twin bed frame that I took the legs off of, and I put aluminum legs underneath that I built. And then we have a support beam that we had to build as well through the center, because it's not a normal bed, obviously. And I'll show you more of that when we go to the garage.
Sounds good.
All right. So here in the old garage area, we've still got some gear in here. We got to go to a gig tomorrow night and the night after, so we got some stuff in here. But still plenty of space. Here's what I was talking about with the aluminum poles. So you can see that this is just like a regular bed frame. And then we put in a plywood sheet, drilled a bunch of 1-inch holes all through it so that it
can breathe.
It breathes, because we found that to be an issue. And then, yeah, let me show you this. This is our separate diesel tank for our diesel heater. So I built this little holding case for it so it stays nice and secure. And then I built a soundproof box for the diesel pump, because anybody who knows anything about these diesel pumps, they click. It's just a little piston in there that fires a little bit of diesel, and it clicks, depending. So if you just hear this all night, it's kind of annoying. So I built this to try and dampen that, and it works pretty well.
It does.
Like, I don't know, you can still kind of hear it, but you get used to it. It's very rhythmic, and it's like having a sleep app kind of on.
It's not it's much quieter than now that you've built the housing.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's really not hard to kind of get used to.
Yeah, and the diesel heater is up underneath the battery system in there. So it's got its own space. It doesn't need as much space as I left it, but here, walk with me, talk with me. I'll show you. Under here is where our diesel heater is. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's holes, so there's fresh air coming in. Plus the whole back side of this is open. So there's fresh air being drawn in, and then this is the air vent, the vent for the hot air. And yeah, I'll come around to the other side of the van, and I'll show you where the exhaust for the diesel heater is. Still going? Good. So under here, this is pretty much the exact area that we were just at inside the van. We had to drill 2 holes through the floor so that there's a fresh air intake, and then there's an exhaust that comes out. It's all external air that runs the engine, and then it circulates the internal air past the heating chamber, so you don't really have to worry about any fumes inside the van unless there's leaks. And for that, we have a carbon monoxide detector. Which is we keep going back and forth. We don't run a van tour channel,
Yeah.
so
We've only ever done one before.
yeah. So our carbon monoxide detector is right down there on the floor,
right next to this stool that also doubles as a laundry hamper.
Yeah.
And also, I was gonna say we should tell them about the fan that we use for
Oh yeah,
ventilation.
here, let's get a cool shot. Hold on, let's set up a shot. People are always wondering how you stay warm in the van. One, so the diesel heater is so great. It keeps it toasty in here. Like if it's below zero, you're still just sleeping in your underwear. It's amazing. And when it's warm out or warm during the day, we have this Max Air fan that it draws an insane amount of fresh air in here. And we can crack the front windows, and we have the rain gutter kind of vents on them, so we can crack it about 2 or 3 inches. Turn this Max Air vent on high, and it just draws fresh, cool air in. Just feel a breeze of nice fresh air coming in here. So even if you're sitting in here in the middle of the day and the sun's beating on the van and you have all the window shades closed with this drawing fresh air in, it's like sitting in the shade in the breeze. It's always nice in here. And on the display for the diesel heater, there's a temperature gauge. So like usually it sits around 80, 85 degrees in here, which when you're sitting in the breeze and the shade in 85 degrees, that's fine.
Yeah,
not bad. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much the entire van. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Thank you, Katie, for being behind the camera for most of this.
No problem.
Thank you for being a trooper on the road.
Thanks for tuning in. And this has been a weird Van in the Van podcast episode, but we thought it was time for a new tour. So
cheers, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.